sister was right next to the tracks with her fiance. She could have been killed.
Angry East Palestine citizens got the chance to speak publicly to Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw for the first time yesterday since the toxic train derailment, and they made their feelings clear.
Did you shorten my life now? I want to retire and enjoy it. How are we going to enjoy it? You burned. We were going to sell our house. Our value went.
We're going to get the cleanup right. We're going to reimburse the citizens. We're going to invest in the long-term health of this community.
Despite repeated EPA assurances that the city's water wells are unaffected and the air is safe, residents are still wary of heavily polluted soil and creeks, like this one CBS News filmed just yesterday. Earlier in the day, former President Trump toured the site of the February 3rd derailment.
I like that one, but this one's even nicer.
Situated in deep red Columbiana County, which Trump took with more than 70% of the vote in 2020, East Palestine greeted him warmly. Former president wasted no time blasting the current president for not coming to East Palestine sooner.
I sincerely hope that when your representatives and all of the politicians get here, including Biden, they get back from touring Ukraine, that he's got some money left over.
Though Trump has received criticism from Democrats for rolling back regulations in the rail industry during his presidency, many here.
I don't know why people like Alan Fisher and the like and other people are talking about how like the derailment wasn't caused by brakes. It was caused by something else. When like the rolling back of you know, brakes is in the same vein as all matter of different deregulation efforts slash a lack of adequate support for infrastructure spending. So who gives a fuck? Like I know Trump isn't directly responsible with the rollback that he engaged in, but it still doesn't matter. It's like these motherfuckers don't give a shit. They wanna derail it. They want to derail it. Sorry, they want to deregulate anyway. Anyway, speaking of which, Alan Fisher also covered the story. We're gonna look at that. Let's watch the town hall first. I know Alan Fisher made a video about it.
Is also here and has a question.
Two-part question. So the first part of you could walk us through that decision, not digging up the soil and just rebuilding the train tracks over it. And second, it's been roughly 3 weeks. What new safety measures do you have in place since then? Regardless of the investigation that's going on, clearly there are some things that change. And if you haven't come up with them yet, when can we expect to hear from them? Because this isn't the first. This won't be the last. People need to see change in a big way. And yeah. Those are my questions.
Yes, ma'am. We believe that we had an environmentally sound remediation plan for the soil, the tracks. However, as I noted, as I continue to engage with East Palestine, one-on-one meetings and small group meetings.
Can I interrupt you? What made you believe that that was an okay resolution? That's what I'm looking for. Like what goes into that decision? Yes,
our independent environmental experts. So I have engaged
when you dump 1,000 gallon chemical and
oil.
And oil.
You're not talking about the oil.
6,000 gallon oil. When you dump that to the ground and you don't take that out of the ground before you put your tracks on, run train on it.
You need to hire some new.
That's an okay
experts.
decision. The oil is going to cause us the long effect. Everybody's talking about the chemicals, and while I do think that's important, it's the oil that's seeping into our ground that you chose not to dig up and just put your tracks right over top of it. She's asked specifically.
Dude, this is pretty sick. It's like you always say about the power white women have. Yeah. No, this is pretty fucking fire. Like having a CEO wearing his fucking Patagonia fit, like this is his casual fit, you know what I mean? Have to sit there and listen to like some of the victims. Goddamn, it's cool. I love that, dude. You don't see that every day. I'm a fan of what's going on in front of me right now. I mean, it should be way more than that. Like jail could be fun. You know what I mean? Like that could be cool. Like legal repercussions. I like stuff like that. Big fan of legal repercussions. But you know, it's not going to happen. So this is what we got in the process. This is what we got instead. And I'm on board with it. I like it.
The ground before you put your tracks on, train on it.
You need to hire some new.
That's an okay
experts.
decision. The oil is going to cause us the long effect. Everyone's talking about the chemicals, and while I do think that's important, it's the oil that's seeping into our ground that you chose not to dig up and just put your tracks right over top of it. She's asked specifically, what led you to that decision?
Ma'am, we've made a lot of progress.
He has a "are you done" ass face right now too, like the "are you done now? Are you done?" Okay, let me tell you what happened.
We've dug up 4,600 cubic yards of soil and collected 1.7 million gallons of water. We will continue with the environmental remediation, and in early March we will start by tearing up the tracks and digging up the soil track.
I wonder why he's not there in person. You're right, Megaphonics. It's a good question. It'd be nice if he was there in person. It'd be even better.
6 weeks, oil's going to be soaking into our soil.
So until...
By the way, this is like the least sociopathic CEO, okay? This is a CEO trying to, to defeat the lizard allegations right now. He is just... This is him trying. He cranked up his sympathy dial and maxed out on it, and this is all you're gonna get. Why do I have to talk to you fucking peasant? I hate that I have to do this. Oh my God. We fucking poison towns that are larger than East Palestine and forget about it. I've forgotten more fucking rural towns that I've poisoned than I have to think about. And you're over here fucking questioning me? How dare you question my authority? You don't understand how fucking difficult business is, okay? You don't know what it's like when you have to take $7 billion, $7.5 billion and repurpose them for stock buybacks. You don't know what that's like, okay? You don't know what it's like to be in my shoes.
Well, then we'll just have it going down.
Keep going in our soil.
Jenna, did you get all your questions answered?
No, I did specifically ask what changes you've already made, and I think these residents also are very valid in asking, why the delay? Why can't we do it tomorrow?
Yeah, Janice, thank you for that. I didn't get to respond to that.
It's Jenna.
Yeah, we're gonna. My apologies,
bro. We should let CEOs do this kind of PR shit more often, dude. They're fucking. The more Americans understand what soulless husks these motherfuckers are, the better. Oh man, I love this. Oh, this is so good. Ooh, it's so fucking good.
We're gonna test and we're gonna calibrate all of the wayside detect all across our system. That's something that we stood up in the immediate aftermath of this.
And is that something that's visible for people to see? Is it publicly available for us to see that that's being done?
It's an internal component to Norfolk Southern.
Don't you think people would want to see that happening? Wouldn't that show that you're trying to do something different? If you're actively showing people this?
Yeah, the problem is he doesn't give a shit. He don't give a shit. He's the CEO of Norfolk Southern. Man's code switching with his wardrobe. He still looks like an out-of-touch CEO. Black fleece vest. Need I say more? Yes, this is his casual look. Don't you love that? This is every part of this is predetermined and manicured, okay? And this is the best he's got. Yeah, he's looking like a Kelly Loeffler campaign ad. Exactly. And he's still not doing it. He can't.
We can certainly take videos of that. And post it.
What we have done is
we stood up a website. What we have done, based on feedback that we've gotten from the citizens, is we stood up a website, nsmakingitright.com, and we're providing updates every day on the environmental remediation. We're providing updates every day on the financial assistance for the community.
Mr. Shaw, one of the questions that Jenna asked that you didn't answer had to do with the fact that obviously whatever Norfolk Southern was doing almost 3 weeks ago wasn't sufficient in terms of safety. And her question was basically, you don't need to wait for the federal government or Governor DeWine to tell you to improve things. For example, if it's true, as Senator J.D. Vance notes, having 2 staffers and a trainee on a 150-car train would not seem sufficient in the view of Republican Governor Vance. So her question is, Senator Vance, her question is, what are you asking your team to do now to change it before the government makes you change? Because you are in charge of the company. You can.
Why the fuck would they change anything before the government makes them change it, dude? Come on now. That's the entire point and purpose of the regulatory body, because these motherfuckers never do anything out of the kindness of their heart. If anything, this is actually, this kind of capitalism being overall indecent is baked into the narrative, even a narrative that libertarians understand. Because libertarians, what do they always say? They're like, oh, you don't need a regulatory agency. What you need is a Yelp review system to basically like fucking yell at corporations and the free market will kick in. And it's like, that still comes with an understanding that like corporations are going to cut corners regardless. And the only thing, something needs to stop them from doing that. And it's never going to be their own personal willingness to not cut corners, right? It's the consumers that will stop them from cutting corners, which is laughable. It's silly. It's stupid. But even then, they still recognize that corporations are going to cut fucking corners. They're going to cut corners with whatever the fuck they can get away with. You know what I mean? So it still happens. It still happens even in the libertarian solution. They still operate with an understanding that corporations are going to push for deregulation. They're going to get away with whatever the fuck they can.
Make those changes. And yes, if you spend $1 billion on safety, that's great. Of course, your profits are in the multi-billion dollar every year.
Yeah, we're also advancing technology on our locomotives to inspect the tracks as our trains run over the tracks. We're looking for the results from the NTSB, the investigation, to find the root cause, which is one of the reasons that we're cooperating fully with the NTSB and the FRA. We'll learn. What we had in place didn't work. We're going to figure this out, and we're going to make the investments to make Norfolk Southern safe.
I want to bring in Jim Stewart, who has a question for you, sir.
Yeah, a lot of this that I have to ask has been answered already. But I'm speaking on the aspect that the people of East Palestine, are being treated like dummies. We're not dummies. We're smart people. Listen to these people, what they have found out about different things and everything else. I'm angry. I'm angry about it. I've lived in East Palestine for 65 years. That's my home. My grandmother came from Germany. She lived in Palestine. My dad grew up there.
What?
My family's grown. And it is disgusting that we're just lost. I live in a house that's probably the closest any, and it's a shame. And probably the next close. Our house is, it's been inspected. It's been this and that. I'm afraid to put my dog out to pee. I mean, he's only on this tall. So, I don't feel safe in this town now. You took it away. You took us away. You seem like a sincere man. I'm not calling you names. I'm not, it's your company thing, because
I mean, his job is literally to stink up the place for the. If there's one, I'm never an advocate for like a singular individual being held responsible for any kind of thing. But if you want to look for a person to blame, like this guy pretty much is the guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's the guy for sure. Like, this wasn't like, oh, things got out of hand and people, mid-level managers decided to take actions that, that were completely outside of the control of like, people in higher levels of power, in higher positions of power. Like, this is the guy who pretty much is telling the mid-level managers to do exactly the things he wants to do. You know what I mean?
they're not watching.
How is this lib shit? What,
Workers
I didn't say
don't
that.
pay attention now. Supervisors make workers work. You got to do something about it. I lost a lot. I lost the value of my home. I'm only one block. I can throw a stone to that burn. What do we do now? I come back to Chicago 4 days. I'm in Chicago for 4 days. I came home the other day, put the garage door up. We pulled the garage.
Yes, chat. He's blaming workers. This is a 65-year-old man, okay? He's a 65-year-old man. He literally said, I'm not a dummy. You seem like a sincere guy. It doesn't matter, though. He doesn't deserve this happening to him, okay? He's a 65-year-old in Ohio. What the fuck do you think his worldview is? Calm the fuck down. You know what I mean? Stop getting annoyed at a victim, okay?
Got out of the car, put the garage down.
His entire worldview revolves around literally fucking looking up to guys like this, thinking that the CEOs are sincere and thinking that the workers probably fucked it up, okay? That's his worldview. Examine why that worldview exists and develop a better understanding of the systems that educate people, that churn millions of people like that out, and also recognize that, just because he has a different political perspective than you do doesn't change the reality that he's still a fucking victim. Yeah, a lot of the people, I don't know what East Palestine's like voting demographics look like. I don't know what they fucking voted for. But I mean, it's Ohio, so it's not shocking to me that it would be like deep red. So these people did technically vote for the very deregulation that they ended up, receiving the brunt, receiving the consequences of. But ultimately, even if they didn't fucking vote for the Republican Party, it doesn't matter. It's like people that vote for Democrats are getting poisoned. Does that make it? Does that make these people less victims? No. There's no you reap what you sow when we talk about. There is no you reap what you sow when we talk about these kinds of issues. We live in a we live in a capitalist organization of the economy. This is a bourgeois government. Both Democrats and the Republicans, as I tell you all the fucking time, are still going to poison you, okay? They're still going to advocate for either slight deregulation or heavy deregulation, okay? And most of the time, these people are just powerless. Like, they're just playing the role of, they're just playing the role just as you are, okay? Going through the motions, you know, doing their civic duty, voting for one party over the other, okay? You will not come across as understanding if you look at a 65-year-old man who is naturally fearful that, like, his house is fucked now, okay? Like, by being like, well, you voted for it. You know what I mean? It's fucking bullshit. Use it as an opportunity, be sympathetic, and use it as an opportunity to explain to people, like, look, listen, you know, Democrats are bad too, but this is a consequence of deregulation. And that knows no boundaries. That knows no political ideology. That is a capitalist attitude. I hate that, like, oh, red states deserve it mentality. Ohio voted for Trump. Trump removed safety regulations on trains. Sounds like Ohio got exactly what it voted for, but that's none of my business. Shit like this kills me. Only half of Ohio voted for Trump, and no, even that half does not deserve to be poisoned because of the excessive greed of railroad companies. Exactly. In a lot of instances, that shit's racist as fuck too, especially when people talk about the South and how shitty it is. I mean, you know, I talk about how fucking shitty the South is all the time, but, you know, I offer that perspective on every state. I think every American state has a lot of shit qualities to it, okay? You know this already. It's you know, I don't do that whole, like, oh, please stop sending me that fucking Hasan underscore Piker thread, please. Just, you don't deserve a week off, but, like, just, god damn, dude. Just shut the fuck up. Yeah, I got it. Oh, here, you want to know the soy-ass fucking Reddit meme that this guy keeps sending? Hold on, I'll show you. Hold on, here. You want to know? This is the fucking, stop being so fucking soy and so Reddit for one day. Massive fucking coalition. Working class right, progressive left. Somehow you fucking keep spamming the same link, which is even cringier than fucking Megaphonics link. I don't give a fuck about the politics of individuals, okay? I don't give a fuck about the politics of individuals. What is, bro, I know you got connections. Tell them to stop this now. Okay, shut the fuck up. I don't care about it. I always say this, when it comes to the liberation of the working class, it doesn't matter if someone is a fucking Democrat. It doesn't matter if someone is a Republican, okay? When it comes to the emancipation of workers, there is no politics there other than class politics, okay? Unions are full of right-wing people. Why the fuck is that the case? It's like, who cares? It doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. I literally sent a good link right before you said that. I fucking heavily doubt it. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, you did the Ohio deserved it meme. Okay, that's the one good Megaphonics link for the day. The one good one. Here, there you go. I gave it to you. Unions are not about the Democratic Party. They're not about the Republican Party. Labor unions are about collective bargaining, okay? It's about what is fair. It's not about left or right. It's about what is fair, okay? That's why they're not the end-all be-all. It's not the fucking solution. It's just the first step. Eugene Debs said it best. Eugene V. Debs still posting. The capitalists are combined against you. They are reducing wages. They have control of the court. They are doing everything they can to destroy your power. You have got to follow their example. You have got to unify your force. Left or right matters in politics, though? No, it doesn't. It doesn't in America, and it doesn't in, like, developed Western neoliberal capitalist countries. I'm talking about something entirely different. You can be a right-wing piece of shit, but you still deserve not to have your fucking home destroyed. You can be the biggest right-wing piece of shit, okay? There are certain concepts that, in my opinion, transcend the left-right political divide. This is something I talk about regularly, okay? The idea, when we talk about healthcare for all, it's not healthcare for, you know, only the Democratic Party voters, okay? It's healthcare for everybody. How many times do I got to explain this? Like, I say this all the time. Nazis also deserve healthcare, okay? Nazis also deserve, public housing. If anything, if material problems are solved, it's going to be much harder for them to, become Nazis. That doesn't mean that, like, Nazis are becoming Nazis and fascists because of their conditions or whatever. But the goal overall is still to make it more difficult for people to want to become that way. Material restitution is actually how to change someone's mind, which is what materialism is. Yes, fuck that. Nazis deserve to die. I know, man. I know. You're like an awesome LARPer. I know. But we're talking about something that's larger than that, okay? Insane take. This pacifist stance screams, I live in a bubble. How do people miss the point? Don't understand, especially long-term community sub. I get it, dude. You're epic. You're based, okay? You're epically based. You are the most based. You are the most, like, Nazi punching guy out here, okay? I'm giving you the most extreme example so you can understand where I'm coming from, okay? Every single person deserves access to healthcare, access to housing, and when they do not get that, that economic volatility is what fosters other pieces of shit to turn around and radicalize people in the wrong direction. If you can't comprehend that, what the fuck are you doing here? Okay? There's no understanding or common ground or uniting with Nazis. No, I'm not saying find common ground with the Nazis, man. What the fuck? This is entirely removed from how you personally deal with this shit. Okay? That's not what we're talking about. That's not the point at all. Medicare for all is not Medicare for everybody that I agree with. Okay? Medicare for all is Medicare for all. If you understand that everyone's fucking politics comes from their social conditioning, and if you understand that our social conditioning is a product of our material conditions, then you understand material restitution is what will eradicate big chunks of people who become white supremacists, fascists, okay? That's it. Chat is so uneducated, they aren't even listening to your points and getting mad at a straw man. I know. I don't think money has ever made someone less racist. That's not what I'm talking about. You're, again, misunderstanding what I'm stating here. Your material conditions are not just how much money is in your pocket. That is incredibly reductive. Access to amenities, okay? And it's not like in other countries where they have better social safety nets, they don't, where, you know, they don't have Nazis or whatever. Of course they do. They have them in Germany. AFD. Education is a component. Workers' rights are another component. Not being fearful of where your next meal ticket is coming from. Having more autonomy in your workplace. That's where a lot of this stems from. Anyway, the reason why I mentioned Nazis is because this is an extreme example, and I did that deliberately. I did that on purpose because I don't care that you hate that I use the most extreme example. That's why I talk about rehabilitation all the time. And whenever I talk about rehabilitation, chat goes, "What about murderer?" And obviously there are people who currently, at least with our medical knowledge, cannot be rehabilitated. But when people talk about murderers, I say, yes, even murderers can be rehabilitated. And the focus should always be on rehabilitation and reintegration into society in our criminal justice system. But you cannot escape your social conditioning. You cannot escape what you have learned from your parents, what you've learned from every fucking thing that you've consumed leading up to this moment. It's very hard to change course, okay? So listen to what I'm talking about. Listen to my words. It's those extremes that people often use as an example to justify the normal parts of denying people health care, or the other people who are imprisoned for minor offenses for the rest of their fucking lives, okay? Stop doing this reactionary politics bullshit, okay? When we talk about an attitude, an unflinching attitude and support towards lowering recidivism through rehabilitative means, we talk about every single person. There's no like, well, this guy individually deserves it, fuck that guy. You can't say that. Medicare for all means for all. It means right-wing Republicans too. You're really going to sit here and say if someone killed your mom and brother, you should get some time off? Come on, man. Justice is not vengeance. The goal of a criminal justice system is supposed to be about lowering the recidivism rate and reintegrating every single person back into society, okay? Please try to understand what I am saying. Yeah, man, I get that. Okay, even if I have an individual weak moment where I personally believe, like, fuck this guy, you know, I'm going to be hyper personal and hyper specific. If someone murders my parents, I want to fucking kill them. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. That's not how systems work, okay? That's not. That's why they don't put victims' families in the fucking jury. Even in our currently fundamentally flawed criminal justice system, we don't do that, right? Every single fucking time I bring this up, someone has to be like, what if someone killed your mom? It's like, I get it, okay? But the reason why people feel this way, and so many people feel this especially, is because they're American, and America is very draconian, okay? Americans love operating off of the HasanAbi code, you know, an eye for an eye. Forgetting the second part of that, which is that, you know, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Reactionary as fuck, and it's silly. I'm not in the business of like no accountability, clearly. I want CEOs and the real villains of society, the wage stealers, CEOs, regulators that don't actually do their fucking job, to be punished, to go to prison even, okay? That does not mean that I don't think that they have the capacity. They have the capacity to change. My goal is not for them to suffer and feel bad. It might make me feel a little good to think about a bad person suffering and feeling bad, but my goal, and I hope you understand that as well, and that this should be your goal as well, is to make sure that they become better people, okay? And there's nothing that shows that this attitude has failed, especially in America, than the way that our current criminal justice system works. I mean, you can extrapolate larger concepts by just looking at a simple difference between here in the United States of America, where we have the highest recidivism rate and the highest incarcerated population on the fucking planet, and I believe the highest prisoner per capita population as well, okay, in comparison to a place like Norway, where they at least have better rehabilitation measures. We house 25% of the entire world's prisoner population, okay? The United States population overall is 4% of the entire world population. So think about, why is it that other places have better integration measures? Why is it that in other countries people actually do horrible things, right, and then can actually still reintegrate into society? Your criminal justice system works when someone who has done a crime never does it again. Your criminal justice system does not work if someone does a crime and is mistreated, okay, in the prison population when they become a convict, okay, and when they get out, they have no job opportunities, so they return to crime again. That's a failure, an abject failure, because they have less diversity and racism. That's not true. What the fuck? That's literally you're talking about like cultural hegemony, and that is an inherently right-wing argument, for the record. That's literally a Ben Shapiro talking point. That's a Nazi talking point as well. Nothing shows that it works. Lol, rehab, Andrew Tate. I get it. Yeah. No, totally. Do you believe it's possible to change America's minds on this within our lifetime? No, but it won't stop me from doing it. It won't stop me from trying. Anyway, I think decarceration is a complex subject because there are a lot of crimes that can be solved by generational healing and material conditions / policy by government. But then you see people who kick random innocent people on the street for no reason, and you question if solving the root cause of crime would have prevented them from doing that. I never said that that is the case, by the way. I always mention that there are currently, with our medical knowledge, incurable antisocial personality disorder related crime, okay? Motherfuckers will say I'm being ableist or whatever, okay? But that's the reality. There are still going to always be psychos, sociopathic criminals, serial killers, okay? As it stands, we don't have a good way of we don't have a good way of curing or treating it, okay? That's just the truth. But those are edge cases. Those are not like the norm. That's not the commonplace thing that's happening, right? The overwhelming majority of people that are doing any kind of crime, even violent ones, I would say, are doing it as a consequence of their material condition. There are still people who will do it regardless, and that is the reason why we still need some mechanism that that prevents them, or at least like creates a sense of law and order. I mean, I've talked about this a lot. Like, I'm not in favor of like full abolition of the police or anything like that. You know, I'm not saying that like prisons are completely obsolete. It's just that our understanding of the criminal justice system currently is a vindictive one, and the U.S. prison system treats everybody like Ted Bundy. Exactly.
As soon as we got out of that car, the smell came back right away. Headache. Now, I'm 65 years old, a diabetic, AFib, heart disease, everything. Now, did you shorten my life? I want to retire and enjoy. How are we going to enjoy it? You burned. We were going to sell our house. Our value went, poof. You know, do I mow the grass? Can I plant tomatoes next summer? What can I do? I'm afraid to, and it's in the air. Every day I cough, a little cough here, a little cough there. I've never had, I got rashes on my cheek and all my arms from the derailment. I don't call it a derailment. I call it a disaster. It's Norfolk disaster, not a train derailment. I'm an honest. I shoot from the hip, just like the government. So I tell you the truth. You seem like a family man, a great guy and all, but you know what? Like I said, your company has to do something.
How are you going to make it up to him, Mr. Shaw? How are you going to make it up to Jim Stewart and all the other families?
Jim, thank you for those comments. I hear you. I'm terribly sorry that this has happened to this. What I can do and what I will do, make it right. We're going to get the cleanup right. We're going to reimburse the citizen. We're going to invest in the long-term health of this. I'm going to see this through, and we're going to work with these leaders to help it thrive. I think you heard the mayor talk about making this community even better. That's what I'm picking up.
It's kind of shit right now.
Community leaders and citizens. We're looking for ideas from the on where we can help, things that we can do.
Well, would you be willing to buy
That's why
their
we
houses?
have somebody.
Will you buy them out of their houses at the property value so Jim can retire? That's making it right? Step up.
We're gonna.
No, go ahead.
I interrupt.
You're good.
Jim wants to hear your answer.
We're going to do what's right for this community.
Well, that's
my
what's right.
commitment.
But did your derailment, did it change me now? It's made me an angry man. I'm a Christian. I love the Lord. But you've made me angry. And I don't want to be like, I want you to respect me like I respect you, right? And I say, what I lost everything. I worked hard. I'm still working. I'm my 44th year at my job. I wanted to get out. Now I'm just stuck.